For many Australian children, football seems to be in the genes. But you may be surprised to hear that Aussie Rules has also been steadily growing in popularity in the United States. The US is now producing so many talented players that they're now being recruited to play for teams in regional WA. As well as giving the US players the chance to play in AFL's home country, the program gives struggling country teams the opportunity to snag new talent. Rebecca Boteler reports.
For someone who hadn't even picked up a football 12 months ago, Andrew Werner has learnt fast. In fact, the 23-year-old hadn't even seen an AFL game until he visited Melbourne last year.
We went to a game at the MCG and it just really looked like something I'd like to try.
And try it he did, but not here in Australia. Instead, he took up the sport when he returned home to the US, signing up for his local team, the Minnesota Freeze, adding AFL to his repertoire of sports, including soccer, basketball and rugby.
It just seemed like a perfect combination of all the sports I loved. So it just looked like it'd be really good to play, plus it's a little easier on the body than rugby is.
But he had a few teething problems.
It took a little while to get the technique down, and the first couple of games I was still throwing it like a rugby ball.
AFL has grown so much in his home country that last year the biggest tournament in the world was held there, involving over 1,000 players. It was while playing in the carnival that Werner caught the attention of Dale Ballantyne from the WA Country Football League. Just a few months later, he became the newest member of the Mount Barker Bulls.
I've only been playing a year, and to have the opportunity to come down here and play with a club like Mount Barker and have a coach like Merv Nagel, it's just been an unbelievable experience.
Right, some of our running in that through the line was pretty good.
A former premiership player and Essendon star, Nagel has been impressed with Werner's natural talent and dedication.
Got to get to the fall of the ball.
Oh, terrific. First on the track every night. Just wants to learn all the time, you know, and he loves the game, and he just works hard, and he's just going to get better and better and better.
Aside from playing football, Werner has also become a part of the Mount Barker community, living with the president of the football club and working at local vineyards. He says moving to a small country town has taken some getting used to.
I'd been living in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and the metro population there was about 3.2 million. So moving from there to Mount Barker was quite a bit of a change. You know, Mount Barker's about 2,000 or so, but it's been really good.
But one thing he didn't have to adapt to was the climate.
Back home, we have snow for 6 months out of the year, and when we left in March, there was still 2 feet of snow on the ground. So when people say it's cold here, I think it's warm weather.
Another player who's used to playing in the cold is Werner's Minnesota Freeze teammate, Brent Mergen. Mergen became hooked on AFL while studying in Perth 3 years ago.
It took me about a week of watching it on TV to actually spark up conversation and ask a bartender, what is that?
The 23-year-old joined Denmark this year and says his game has improved over the season.
We had about 5 games in the whole year back in the States. Here, when I get to train twice a week, play a game every weekend, it's much opportunity, and of course the level is so much better.
Mergen and Werner are part of a pilot program by the WA Country Football League, which has brought 5 players over from the US to help struggling country teams.
Before we said yes to any of the 4 football clubs that have taken on the guys, they needed to prove to us that they had accommodation and a job.
But it's not all about football. The American players have become well known both on and off the field.
They've been really receptive to the towns that they've been playing in, and the people from those clubs and towns have been pretty excited about having an extra player, to tell you the truth. But you know, it brings a whole different culture to the town. You know, 4th of July in Mount Barker's never happened before.
It's a two-way street. The players will take the skills they've learnt here back to the US.
In turn, that actually builds football in America as well, because we're giving them some experience and knowledge and expertise to take back.
The success of the program has led to plans to expand it next year.
You'd love to see it at 20 to 40. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. Maybe we look at 10, maybe we look at 15.
That's an ambition being welcomed by country coaches.
I'd love another 10 of him, actually. At least we'd have some good numbers at training.